What's going on, guys? So today is Valentine's Day. Now I'm not going to post this video on Valentine's Day, but I'll post it soon afterwards. But just hanging out with my wonderful wife, and because it's Valentine's Day, I'm doing the cooking tonight. So I figured I'm going to be cooking something nice. Might as well turn the camera on and do a cooking video. So today, as you saw by the title, we are making chicken a la king in a basket, which is a little bit of a twist. It's actually how I grew up with my mom making it, although you can serve chicken a la king any way you want. You can put it just straight in a bowl. You can serve it over rice. You can serve it over egg noodles, right over biscuits. I mean, people do their own thing, I guess, depending on what region you're in. But anyway, to make things easy, I prepped all the ingredients here. Actually, my wife helped me prep the ingredients. Now she's in the other room. And so here's what we're working with. We have 4 cups of chopped chicken. Now for me, I just got one of those like rotisserie chickens that were ready to go from like Walmart, and stripped all the skin off and pulled all the meat off the bones, chucked the carcass, saved the meat, and just, you know, chopped it up fine. To be honest, that's kind of, you know, going out of your way. You don't need to do that. I would recommend just getting like regular white meat chicken breasts and just, you know, roasting them real quick and just chopping that up. It's going to be a lot easier. It may even be cheaper. Who knows? This was, you know, a $6 chicken or whatever it was. So anyway, we have 4 cups of chicken chopped up nice and fine. We have 1 cup, actually it's a half cup, of pimento peppers. Those are the little peppers that go inside of, you know, cocktail olives. It's a green olive with a pimento inside. But they sell just the peppers. They don't have, you know, barely any heat at all. It's more just for flavor. The recipe really calls for a full cup, but I'm doing a half cup here and a little extra mushrooms to kind of make up for that because we both love mushrooms so much. Then we have 1 bag of frozen peas. All right, we have a 1/3 cup of heavy cream. I have 2 egg yolks, just the egg yolks, no whites. We have 1/2 cups of milk. We have 2 cups of chicken broth over in the corner over there. Half cup of all-purpose flour. We have, again, the recipe calls for 8 ounces of mushrooms, but I'm more like maybe 10 to 12 ounces of mushrooms. And then we have a half cup of salted butter. Now, the basket part of the whole thing here are these puff pastry shells. These are obviously advertised for desserts. But again, I grew up with my mom making chicken a la king and putting them in these. It is absolutely amazing. Just really good. So obviously you could just follow the directions you would normally do to just make these in the oven. And then with the empty shells, we could take our finished chicken a la king and then just fill up the shells. They look really nice. They taste amazing. Just really good stuff. So right now I just have the oven preheated at 425 for this. So that I'm not going to make a whole video on, but when they're all done, our mixture is going to be filled inside of those. All right, so the first thing we want to do is take our butter here. All right, we're going to put it into our pan. Make sure we're putting on our right burner here. You can put this on like, you know, medium, high heat. Don't blast it. I think as a guy, I have a tendency to cook on very high heat very quickly. Usually that results in burning some things, making some smoke, making the house smell. But the right thing to do, obviously, is like a medium heat. So we're going to toss in all of this butter here. Get our spatula, make sure we get all of it. All right. And as this melts down, we're going to be cooking our mushrooms. All right. So we're not really doing like a full saute. We're just kind of sweating them out a little bit. I have a big saucepan here. All right. Put in all of our mushrooms. Again, same thing. Let me go around the tripod here, make sure we don't miss any. We want all of them in there. All right, so let's zoom in onto that action right there. So, you know, just let the heat melt the butter and let all these mushrooms cook and soften. All right, so as these things cook down, you know, move it around a little bit. Make sure they get turned over. Any mushrooms that's sticking up in the air there might not cook as fast as the rest of them. So I've been cooking a couple minutes here. I'm going to go, you know, maybe 5 minutes total. Okay, so now the next step here is to dump in our flour. All right, we're going to just kind of sprinkle this all the way around everything. And we're going to mix it in until it is thoroughly incorporated, all right, into the butter and the mushrooms. You want to mix this in until you can't see any of the flour anymore. Alright, make sure it is very well mixed. Alright, now we're adding our chicken broth. right, and we're going to add our milk. All right, we're going to crank the heat to high because we want this to come up to a boil. All right, so now at this point you can mix it again. Make sure everything is nice and incorporated. All right, bring this up to a boil. So obviously at this point we're trying to make a nice sauce. All right, now that we are boiling, we're actually going to turn the heat back down to low. I'm going to put mine on 3 here. All right, now we want this to simmer about 3 to 5 minutes or so. Basically, we want this to reduce, okay? So you have to bring it all the way up to heat to get that flour mixture to actually get to its thickest point, but we're not going to see how thick it is until it cools back down. All right, so at this point, like I said, just turn the heat down and let this thing simmer for a few minutes. Now, meanwhile, while we're doing that, I'm also going to take our 2 egg yolks. I'm going to put it into the cream, okay? And we're going to mix this together. All right, so break the egg yolks and just stir this up. So I'm incorporating these 2 together. This is something we're going to be adding into the sauce in a little while. Also, while we're waiting, I'm going to take these puff pastries and I'm going to put this into the oven. All right, and get those things going as well. All right, so our sauce has been simmering for a little bit. We're going to back out here. I put the heavy cream and egg yolk mixture into a bigger container because we want to do is we want to ladle some of that liquid into here to warm up the egg yolks. If you dump this right into the hot liquid, it would scramble the eggs. You would literally have bits of scrambled egg in there, which of course you don't want. So I'm sure if you watch Food Network, excuse me, you've seen this many times before. But just take some of this liquid, put it in here, put a little bit more. Put it there for a second and just mix this in. This is just warming this liquid up. All right, get a little bit more. I guess it doesn't really matter if we put any mushrooms in there because we put it right back in. All right, it's the same thing. Just bring this up to temperature a little bit so it doesn't scramble the egg. All right, we're going to pour this in. Mix it up. We're going to let this continue to simmer. All right, so make sure you stir that in really good. Again, right now I actually turned my heat up a little bit to 3. But you still want this on low. Okay, this is our sauce. Right now you can tell it's still pretty thick. It's pretty much gravy consistency right now. We have a good mushroom gravy. But the egg yolk and cream is going to make it much richer. You don't have to do that step. All right, if you want a little bit of a lighter thing or for some reason less calories, although this entire meal is not, you know, a diet meal essentially. But you can certainly skip that step and it would still come out pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You'll let this simmer for another 5 minutes or so and then ready to move on to the next step. Look at that simmer in action. All right, so a couple minutes later, we are ready to add the rest of the stuff. So this next part is pretty much going to be up to taste. The only given, obviously, is the chicken. So you go ahead and dump in all of your chicken. All right, in this case, again, we have 4 cups. And you want to add the pimento peppers. If you don't like them, don't add them. Do whatever you want. All right, this is your dish. And peas. Now traditionally there's peas added, by the way. Finally got one of these. So you guys will definitely see a video on that in the near future, which is awesome. But yeah, you don't like peas? Don't add peas. Now, as far as how many peas, I don't know if I'm gonna add this whole bag. I'm gonna take a look at it as I add them. That's about it. And that was maybe 2/3 of the bag. I got like that much left. So we'll save those other peas for something else. Let me get the other side here. Now we're not actually cooking these. The peas are frozen, but they're going to thaw very quickly. All we're doing is incorporating this together. All right. So you're basically heating it through or warming it up. So this all gets mixed up. sometimes do the peas and the carrots mixed together. All right, if you like carrots, you can certainly add those in there. If you're making this for your family and kids, the more veggies, the better. Especially when something's covered in gravy. You know what I mean? Can't taste them, might as well get in there. It's good for you. But yeah, like I said, I mean, you could put in whatever you like. You want to make it garlicky, add some garlic if you want, you know. If you want just the chicken, by all means, add just the chicken. Actually, before I continue, I'm going to add a little salt and pepper to taste. Of course, this is subjective. Definitely needs a little bit of salt. It's not as much as it might seem. And some pepper. So at this point, now I'm just waiting for the those little shells to finish up, and then we're going to plate it. But if you're not eating this with shells at this point, you can just, you know, serve yourself a little bowl of this, or like I said, rice, noodles, biscuits, whatever you want to serve it over. By all means, it's whatever you like. All right, guys. So we are all plated here, and I know that might look like it's overfilled, and that's on purpose. I'm only having one of these actual shells, so you would overfill it. If you're having, you know, 2 or 3 of these shells, they don't hold out that much, but you can just, you know, obviously fill it to the top. They do have these little center caps that come off. Some people just eat them while they're preparing it. You can put it back on for presentation. Doesn't really matter each way, but these things are awesome. Again, it's just puff pastry, super buttery. It's like a really, really light biscuit. So if you haven't had those before, I would definitely recommend it, either for this dish or, you know, as it showed on the front there, you could fill with a little bit of whipped cream, homemade whipped cream, and some berries and stuff. Really awesome dessert. But anyway, we're gonna jump right into this. All right, get a little chicken in there, a little peas, a little pimento pepper, and some mushrooms. All right, so just dig it in. Wow, that is that's something else. And of course, on the little biscuit top here, it's awesome. I mean, this is just like home cooking. Again, I grew up with this with my mom. She didn't do like pimento peppers or the mushrooms growing up. She would just do, you know, peas and carrots and chicken. But this came out just awesome. Let me be quiet for a second while I can take this bite. Wow, that is pretty amazing. So yeah, that's chicken a la king, you know, in a basket. You can also use the same recipe. Forget the little pastry shells. You can put this into a pie crust, and you have a chicken pot pie. All right. It just works. It's really versatile. Again, over rice, noodles, whatever you want. It's just really, really delicious, really simple. But while it's still hot, I'm going to call Christina in here and have a nice romantic little dinner. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day. Let me know if you make this recipe down in the comments section, what you think of it. If you've had your own version of chicken a la king, let me know what you put in yours. So here's a pro tip. If you're going to make a really nice dinner for your loved one, make sure you do the dishes as well. I would say that's equally as important as the meal. So that's all. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.